was probably the toughest thing for me to learn. When I first on right here, what is the level 2? How does it benefit us? How does it help us? Well, a level 2 is just going to be an order book. It's alive in real time. Now, when you think about that, that gives you a massive advantage. That gives you a massive edge. If you can see who's buying what, you could see how many shares they're buying. We might be able to see which way the stock's price may be influenced. We might be able to get a little bit of a better gauge about this play. So when we're taking a look at the level 2, let's break this on down to get a good understanding of how it works. First column, you guys are realizing, is the market makers. I'm going to be very blunt with you. This column to you and I means absolutely nothing. There is no difference on what market it's going on through. There's many different markets or routes that people are going to place their order through. If that is the EDGA or the EDGX or NYSE or ARCA, these are just going to be the price. Now, this is going to be important to us. The price is where someone is willing to buy, or again, where they're willing to sell. Well, or the short orders betting against it. Now, why is this important? Well, because I could see where people are willing to buy at, or where people are going through. Are we seeing a large order? Are we seeing a smaller order? If we have a large order, let's say 20,000 shares, well, that might be holding up as a little bit of a support line. Remember, we've talked about support and resistance, a platform and strong area of reversals. We know that we can get bounces at support. We know we can get 20,000 shares at the price of $100. Well, we have to realize that's a very large investment. Someone is putting in $2 million on this stock at this price. It's going to take a while to get enough orders to fall underneath that 20,000 share order. We might hit 20,000 shares. Other people, other traders, other investors recognize, wow, there's a very big order right here. And then the stock bounces off of that. Because the only way we go lower is we have to sell through that 20,000 share order. Just like if all of a sudden someone was selling 20,000 shares. If we are looking at the level 2 and someone's selling 20,000 shares, let's say hypothetically at the price of $10, the stock runs up to $9.99, hits $10, a few people are now buying up those shares that someone is selling, 20,000. But at the same time, there might not be enough buyers. If there's not enough buyers to take up that 20,000 shares, guess what? The stock is now going to head down the other side because that's holding up as some strong wall. That's a strong area of resistance. Not only do we have to look at the chart at some points, but we also have to be looking at the level 2. So for me, the level 2 is necessary. When I am trading a stock, I am only looking at a level 2. A lot of people think, oh, do you look at the chart? Do you look at the candles? I use the chart to do my research, right? My research, if I'm just being straight up with you, is number 1, use Foxrunner to find the hottest news, the hottest play. Number 2, use trade ideas to be able to use the charting to figure out where support and resistance is at. After I figure out support and resistance, I think about where's my entry and stop loss, and then I place it on the level 2, and now all I'm watching is the level 2. Right? I don't look at the chart really when I'm trading. I don't look at trade idea scanners when I'm trading. I don't look at Foxrunner when I'm trading. I'm focused on the level 2. The level 2 is what I need to be able to see how is the price moving. Is the stock moving in my direction? Is the stock going against me? If I don't have level 2 when I'm trading, it's trading blind. You cannot trade blind. You can't be a Ricky Bobby and throw a little bandana around your eyes and blindfold yourself and say, well, let me just feel the car. You can't do that. You can't just say, oh, let me just jump in on the stock and hopefully it goes on up. You have to be able to say to yourself, let me watch the level 2, because if these orders break, I know to be able to get out of this play. Right? The level 2 is just going to be showing us the bids and the ask. Now, it's very simple. The bids are going to be the buyers, the people that are wanting to get involved into a play. When we want to get involved into a stock, we are going to say to ourselves, hey, we want to buy into this play. So we would place a bid order. If we do a limit order, if we do a market order, it's just going to go straight to the ask. Remember, we talked about that before, where we said to ourselves, okay, limit orders show up on the level 2 because we're placing an order down low. Market orders go straight to whatever the best current asking price is. That's where we'll get filled. Don't worry if I confused you right there. We'll go over the level 2 in just a moment. The ask is just going to be the opposite side. The ask is the sell side, the short side, where people are willing to get out. So the bids are the buyers. The ask is the sellers. The time and sales is going to be all the orders that have now been through. So we have the bids, we have the buyers, and the time and sales is going to be the collective order here. Time and sales is going to show if it's green or red. Obviously, green means a buy order went through. Red means a sell order went through, and if it's white, that just means it stayed the same. There was not any sort of change within the stock in any sort of way. So when we're really thinking about it, what is the time, or what is a level 2? It just comes on down to an agreement, just like you would go and buy a car. Let's imagine you walked onto a car parking lot and there's a car right there for $21,000. You walk up to the car salesman, you say, man, I really like this car. It's $21,000. I'll tell you right now, I will purchase this car in cash for $16,000. And the guy goes, I can't do that. That's a $5,000 discount. Unfortunately, I can't do it. I'll be losing money. Right? You're a bid. You're a buyer. You're trying to get this car for $16,000. The guy goes, let me go talk to my manager. He comes back on out. He goes, hey, guess what? I can lower it a little bit, but I'm going to lower it at $20,000. And you say, again, I came here with $16,000. I was looking to get maybe $5,000 off. I'll tell you what, right now, I'll come up to $17,000. He goes, you know what? Let me go back to my manager. Let me talk to you about it. He comes on back, says, hey, come meet me at $18,000. I'm giving you $2,000 off this car. No one else is getting this. We can make a deal right now. Both of us are happy. Boom, deal done. That's what, again, stock trading is. Stock trading is I can place my order. I can place, hey, someone take this car, someone take my shares at this price. Doesn't mean it's going to get filled unless someone comes up and gets that. Same exact thing. I can go ahead and say, I want to get filled. I want to buy this car. I want to buy this stock at this price. It doesn't matter unless someone's willing to sell it. Or I can do a market order and just take whatever price someone's willing to give me. But this is all it is, guys. The level 2 is essentially just going to be a live negotiation on getting involved in this stock. And you could pick whatever price you want, and hopefully someone gets filled at the price that you're looking at. So, are there cons of using a level 2? Well, the cons about level 2 is sometimes they move too fast that it's not going to give us the data that we really need. Only limit orders are shown inside of level 2. Market orders are going to go straight on through. So while, again, the level 2 can give us predictability, while the level 2 can show us which way momentum is moving, while the election very quickly if a large market order goes straight on through. So how would I like to read a level 2? How do I, again, gauge maybe which way a level 2 is going to be heading? Well, the best way to be able to read a level 2 is I think about it more as like, a fun little game. And we can play that game here in just a second. But a lot of people always like to go ahead and check it out more as like bid stacking and volume on time and sales. So let's think about this. Let's go ahead and start giving ourselves some examples. This is a level 2 right here on our screen. Let's go to the number 1 top gainer right now, which is NBY, okay? The number 1 top gainer right now is NBY. Now, looking at this live level 2, what have we gone over so far? I'm going to take a screenshot of it so it's paused and it's very easy. We do have the left side. The left side is going to be the bids. So basically, anyone from here over is going to be the buyers. Anything on this side is the ask, which means anything from here over is going to be sellers or shorters. Now, very simple, very easy. We have a game, don't we? We have the bids versus the ask. Who is going to win? The buyers versus the sellers. Who's going to have control? Now, we also talked about, we do have what here, traders? We do have the market makers, which we really don't care about, right? We do have the price that people are willing to buy at. We also do have how many shares someone is willing to buy at. So, little heads up. I know you guys saying, is someone buying 2 shares or 10 shares or 20 shares? Just because it saves space, and you can change this in your settings. If you see the word 2, it's really 200. If you see 10, this is really 1,000. If you see 126, this is actually 12,600. So all of this is slightly abbreviated, just a little heads on up. It's not like someone's actually only buying 2 shares of a stock that is $1. They're buying, again, 200 shares, or they're buying 1,000 shares, or they're buying 12,000 shares. So just a little heads up that right now this level 2 is slightly abbreviated. You can change that in whatever you want in your settings. Now, another thing that a lot of people always ask is, well, what does the colors mean? The colors right here, the color is yellow here, and the color is green right here, and the color is blue right here, and this is red. What does that mean? Does that change at all? So the colors is just for us. It's us as humans to get a better visual. And all the colors is showing is how many orders before a different price change. So what do we have right here, guys? We have every single person buying at 177. Then the change in the color is where the orders of 176 start. And then the change in that color is where a new order of 172 starts. And a change in that color is at 165. So what is the point of it? It's just helping us understand how many people are buying at a specific price before the next change in price. So why would this be important? This is important because a lot of traders like to see, is there the bid stacking? Are the bids stacking? Are the asks stacking? You know, which way is this play going to be heading towards? So let's see if we can find a little bit of a, I'm going to take a little bit of a screenshot here. And this is like, you know, let's see if we can get a good little example. Example would be, right here, when we're taking a look at this, the level 2 is supposed to tell us which way is the stock going to be heading next. Now, let's just imagine here, traders, for a second. Let's imagine that there was only one buyer at 179, and let's say there are 10 sellers at the price of 180. Imagine if this was a fight. Imagine if this was a war, and there are one person versus 10 people. 99% of the time, who's going to win? Is the one person going to win, or is the 10 people going to win? Well, most likely the 10 people are going to win. It's very hard to win a fight when it's 1 versus 10. So the thing is, that's the same exact example over on NBY right here. If we see that there's only one person to buy at 179 and there's 10 people to sell at 180, most likely the stock's going to move down. Because that 179 is not going to be able to push away all those 180s. Most likely someone's going to jump on down, take that 179 order out, and now it's going to move on down to 178. And then maybe again, more people start selling at 178, and then it goes down to 177. And then at some point, we're going to be able to find some sort of opportunity where the stock might be able to break off. So what I like to do on a lot of these plays, I want to see if we can find something a little bit better here. Let's go over to AZTR here for a second. So this is how I use the level 2 a lot of times. And let's just go over to a decently hot play, AZTR. So this is how I would use it in real life. AZTR, what am I realizing? I realize that AZTR is going to have very strong 120 support. That's what I see. This is me doing research on the chart, right? AZTR, 120 is very strong support. I also see that AZTR has a downtrend. Now, I am now getting my game plan on how I want to be able to trade this play. I know AZTR, this was a stock earlier this morning that came out with news, right? We can go over, we say, hey, Deck, how did we find this play? Well, we use FoxRunner. FoxRunner shows us all the top gainers and top losers. We know AZTR did have a good credible press release this morning showing that has phase 1 and 2. Okay, great. Now it's on our watch list. Now, after it's on our watch list, we can see that 120's main support. We know that we have 143, 145 as our main resistance line. We have this downtrend. Now, after I find the stock, I start again doing my technical analysis, showing where should I buy this play. Great area to buy it here, great area to buy it here, great area to buy it here, great area to buy it here. I also know, again, we have great areas to sell. Great areas to seller short here, seller short here, seller short here, seller short here, and now seller short here. So what are these prices? This price right here is going to be right around 137, 138, okay? 137, 138. This price down here is going to be right between around that 120 mark, right? 120 area. Now, what do I think? What do I want to do here? So now I type in over on AZTR. AZTR, we know what? We have to think about it as a war. We have to think about it as a battle. We have to think about it as two different sides. We have, you know, if we want to think about it as different wars, we have the North versus the South, right? The Revolutionary War. We have, you know, the United States versus England, World War. You could say, again, we have whatever country versus whatever country. You can think about it in a million different ways, right? You can think about that movie 300. What was it? It was like the Romans versus the Immortals, you know, that guys. Have you ever seen that movie? So the way that I always think about it in my head now is we have one side, okay? One side, let's say again, country B is the shorters. They are doing the best. If you are a shorter, what's your goal? You are trying your hardest to make the stock fade and fall because you want to push them back. You want to take their land. You want to be able to grow as a country, as that army. What does the other army want to do? The other army, guess what they're trying to do? They're trying to push them and break on up this way. They're trying to push them back and take their land and take their profits and take everything that they got. Right? So we got basically one side versus the other side. And now what? Well, we know the home base is right around 120 for the bottom, the blue country. We know again that the red country right here, their home base is right around 137. And basically at this moment, the battlefield is everything in between. So what I'm looking at right now at the level 2 is I'm asking myself, who's winning? Well, I know right now, again, home base is right around 120. Now I know, again, their home base, the red country, is going to be right around 137. So what am I looking for? I want to see, can AZTR maybe push through this 137 mark? Can we push the shorters on back? And if we can, that's a great sign of strength. So right now, I'm giving it to the blue country right now. They're currently winning. Why are they currently winning? Because, again, 130 is holding up strong at this moment. Let's see if 130 can hold up strong. Right now, again, we're getting pushed back slightly. Let's see if the buyers, guys, can currently win, push back up to 130, try to get back up towards around that 137 mark. Right now, it's pretty equal, but we also have the shorters now slightly pushing them back. Shorters, guys, starting to move on in. Shorting country pushing back. Now, again, we actually have the buyers. The buyer countries on their heels getting pushed back towards, again, their home base. Now, guess what, guys? Near home base, we usually know, again, buyers are going to try to move on in. Are the shorters now taking over? The shorters are now taking over. They're trying to claim that territory right now. Buyers, this is where they got to hold on up. If they don't hold on up right here, we're going to start seeing a little bit of a dump. Buyers are fighting. They're trying to stay alive right at their support line. Shorters are a little bit in control right now, though. So who am I giving it to at this moment? Well, ladies and gentlemen, shorting country. Sellers ask. They're currently in control at this moment. So who's in control right now? Would I want to buy in at this moment when I see all the shorters in control? When I see sellers in control? When I see, again, right now that we are currently losing if you're a buyer? All right, buyers better, again, hold this 120 mark. If 120 starts going, things could really start getting ugly very quickly. Buyers are doing their best, holding right around 120, 121. So, again, buyers need to hold here. 120, 121, 121, trying to hold on up. We do have 120 still fighting a little bit. 120, 121 still holding the best it can. Shorters are pounding down. You're asking yourselves constantly, who's winning on this trade? Who's currently winning? See, just by doing this fun little example, this fun little game, I can say to myself, ooh, I don't know if I'd want to buy this play at this exact moment, because it seems like right now, shorters are currently winning. The buying army is looking a little bit weaker. The buying army is saying, hey, guys, we may have to retreat here in a second. And if they retreat, guess what's going to happen? The stock's going to fade and fall back down to like 115 because they're losing their home base. Guess what? If another army invaded your home base and all of a sudden you're getting your butt kicked, people start running in the opposite direction. Guess what's happening right here? Guys, we were supposed to hold 120. Shorters are winning. If we start losing 118 right here, we only got 4 orders there. Now again, we're down to 116. Now 115. Retreat! Everyone run the opposite direction. So again, isn't that like a fun little way to just be able to understand now? Okay, the level 2 is telling us who's winning. The level 2 is telling us who's in control. The level 2 is telling us, oh wow, hey, maybe I shouldn't be a buyer right now because that's giving us a good idea of maybe what is happening. You know, so the level 2 here, team, yes, again, number 1, find the hottest play. I do my research on what are our home bases, aka support and resistance. And then from there, once I trade the stock, I'm entering it and I'm watching it here. So it's a very kind of fun way that I always think about it. And again, you don't have to think about it in that manner, but that's how I think about every single stock trade I'm in. So I get a gauge, an idea of who's currently winning and who has the momentum and who has the action. And that's where I'm going to be a more consistent and successful trader by not jumping in on the wrong side, right? Not by putting myself in the wrong positions. So level 2 is absolutely splendid, absolutely great, and you guys can be able to make a lot of money by reading a level 2 correctly. It is all about the buyers and the sellers. Now, what else you guys can see is, again, the level 2 is also where you guys are going to be placing orders. So how would you, again, place an order over on a stock? Let's say you want to get involved over on stock NBY, or let's actually change out our scanners right now because the market is now open and live. So let's change out our scanners. Let's put on our normal scanners at this time. Let's see if there's any stock that's currently getting a lot of hype and momentum. And it's still right now, NBY is one of the top dogs. AZTR starting to get a little weaker. We don't have anything that's going too crazy just yet at this moment. We do have NVIDIA, though, coming on up. NVIDIA's earnings are tonight. So let's say, hypothetically, Deck, I want to get involved and I want to buy 10 NVIDIA shares for tonight. How would we do that? Well, the only way you can get filled is by using the level 2. You type in NVIDIA. And NVIDIA has lots of action. NVIDIA has lots of, volume going through it. Now, how would I do it? I would go 10 shares. I click 10 shares, you go to a market order, and guess what happens the moment you click buy? The moment you click buy, whatever is the best current selling price is the moment that you're filled at. So if you click market order buy, whatever is the best current asking price, that is the price that you're going to get filled at. Now, if you're saying, hey, Deck, I'm taking a look over on NVIDIA, I'm taking a look at the chart, I think it could fall on down towards the price of 178. Well, then guess what? You can go to a limit order, type in the price 178, go ahead, click buy, or not, excuse me, I shouldn't do a, let's go 178. There we go. We go ahead and click buy. And now guess what? Now this is a pending order. What does a pending order mean? It means it's live, it's there. And if the price comes down to 178, we need, again, the price to come down to one. If you do a market order, you are going to be getting filled at whatever the asking price is. Same exact things for getting out. You jump in a play, you want to get out instantly. You click the sell button. Where are you getting out? You're getting out wherever people are willing to buy at. If you want to do a limit order and say, hey, Deck, I'm filled at 178. I want to get filled if it ever jumps back up towards 180. You type in 180, you click sell, you then have a pending order. So Deck, the level 2 right here shows us buyers, shows us sellers, shows us how much, shows us, of course, what price, and can give us an idea of who's currently in control. Absolutely. Now, what else does the level 2 do a great job with? The level 2 is also going to show me here, traders, on, well, as a day has over 10 million shares, every single stock has a different average volume. It's about comparing the average volume to the current volume. Like, for instance, right? If we want to take a look over on NBY, for instance, right? Let's go over to Yahoo Finance. Let's click NBY and let's just see what we have here. NBY, there is no number where you're like, what's the good amount of volume to be able to see a stock go on a big time breakout? You go over here and you see NBY, its average volume is 3 million. That's going to be 10 times different than maybe another stock. But what you guys do realize is that there's 92 million shares traded today already out of the overall 3 million. So there's a massive increase in volume, and that's showing that this stock, at least at some point today, has been very hot. Now, we can also see this by typing in the play. Let's say you have a good gut feeling about TDTH. Deck, I really like TDTH today. I think this is going to be a great play that's going to make me a lot of money. Well, I'm going to type it in on the level 2, and the moment I type it in on level 2, I'm going to sit here. And I'm going to do this. What do we notice about TDTH? Nothing's moving. Nothing's happening. Guys, a stock that is not moving is a stock that will not make you any money. You will not be able to make any money whatsoever if a stock is not moving, if a stock is not spiking, if a stock is not climbing, if a stock is not ripping and running. You will make $0 on a stock that has 0 orders going through. So if you ever want to say, hey, Deck, I want to buy TDTH today for a day trade, you're making $0 today. There's no one else buying the play. So remember, what's the secret? The secret is we got to find the hot stock and be able to enter and exit over on this play maybe before everyone else finds the play. We want volume. We want action, but we want to try to beat the volume towards it. Now, that doesn't mean, again, buying it on TDTH and then sitting here and hoping, again, something great happens. That's most likely not going to be a great idea. What we most likely want to do is go over to plays that maybe have volume already if we're a little bit late to the game. So if you're like, hey, Deck, I want to look for a possible short over on AZTR. We type in AZTR, guess what? Look at AZTR. At least it's moving. There's activity. There's traders here. We have some sort of action over on AZTR. Volume equals activity. Activity equals profit. If we do not have activity, there will be no money to be made. So the level 2 is going to give us so much great information, shows us how active it is in a sense, shows us where people are buying, where people are selling, shows us, of course, which way currently has the momentum, if that's to the upside or the downside. The level 2 is the final stage of what I'm looking at. I find my play, I research my play, I use the level 2 to execute that trade, and that is what I'm consistently watching. Does that make sense to absolutely everyone? Hey, let's go on over to our next topic here. Our next topic that we are going to be diving into now is going to be shorting, going against the grain, going against these stocks, betting against these companies. One of my favorite ways to be able to trade stocks is going to be short selling. And that's all it is. Exactly what I already said is going to be going against these plays. A lot of people, when I say buying stocks in the stock market or investing into the stock market, you must realize that 99% of people think I'm saying, hey, let's buy a low stock and hopefully it goes on up. Now, I like to think about numbers. I like to think about odds. I like to think about statistics and facts and how can I become the best trader that I can be? Well, what I want you guys to think about is how many companies actually succeed. The answer is not many. We have the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is the top 500 companies in the United States. Those are the best of the best. But haven't I showed you over on FinViz and all these other places that there are over 10,000 companies that are registered in the stock market for you to be able to trade? There's 500 great ones. Microsoft, Google, Nvidia, Tesla. These are all great companies. But what about the other 9,500 stocks out there? Sure, there's a mixed bag of some good ones, but the majority of stocks on the stock market, and I will say the majority of the stocks on the stock market suck. They're not good plays. They're not good stocks. These plays are actually going to come back on down, especially stocks that are sub $15. Everyone tries to always find for the gold mine. Let me buy some stock that's a penny right now, and hopefully it turns into the next Tesla. Maybe it'll turn into the next Apple. Maybe it'll turn into the next big giant. And it definitely could. But at the same time, it is probably a 1 in 1,000 that you are actually going to find that play. So what do I turn to? If I said that the majority of stocks fade and fall, because that's the facts, the majority of businesses fade and lose business over time, they're going to collapse. The majority of businesses within the first 2 years, 85% of them will fail. That's not a number I'm making on up. That's from the Libra statistics. You guys can go ahead and type it over on Google. The majority of new businesses fail. So what is the stock market? Well, the stock market is a place that we can go ahead and invest into businesses, invest into companies. Well, I can also bet against the company that they aren't going to do well. And if I know that the majority of these companies are not going to do well, why would I again go ahead and buy them when I could just place the odds in my favor, knowing that the majority of them are going to go ahead and start falling and fading and dropping? So I don't, again, even need to do any sort of research on this. Let's just go over to the top gainers of today. Let's just do the top gainers of today, and let's make it nice and fair. Let's go back to a weekly time frame, and let's start off at the very tippity top. NBY, let's go all the way to the top. NBY 5 years ago, when it was first available, says it was at $1,500 per share. It's now at $1. Now, this company had something called reverse stock splits, where they changed their price over and over and over again, trying to stay on the stock market and not getting delisted. So they were never actually at $1,500. They might have been at $100. They might have been at $200. But regardless, what has the stock and the chart done over the last 5 years? Fade and fall. Okay, well, Deck, that's one example. You're 100% correct. What about NAMI? NAMI has been available now for the past 1 year. NAMI. This stock has now gone from $6 down to $1. Okay, let's go to the next example. AZTR. AZTR has now gone from $1,000 to, over the last 2 years, to $1. Okay, how about INHD? INHD has gone from $100 to now $5. What about FLNT? FLNT has now gone from $50 to $2. Okay, let's go to BLNE. And again, all I'm doing is taking these off the top gainers of today. This is not a list I did a whole bunch of research on last night saying, hey, you know what is some examples that are going to make me look good. These are just whatever the top gainers are today that I know all of them are just built off that hype. BLNE went from $10 down to $1. STSS back in 2022 was at the price of, again, all fake reverse stock split numbers, $18,000. It's now down at $11. This stock probably went from, again, $200 down to $11. Right? PTHL, don't even get me started. QVCGA, fading and falling. Just grabbing every single one of them. What do you guys realize? The majority of these plays, right? 9 out of 10 are going to turn into absolute dust, right? That's what they turn into. Absolute fairy dust. Poof, they're gone. Remember, again, you may be saying to yourself at some point, saying, oh, Deck, let me not sell my shares. Let me not take my loss. At some point, the stock has to move on up, right? At some point, my shares have to, again, grow. The answer is no, not at all. That's the complete wrong way of thinking. Not at all. If you think, again, the stock is going to go on up, you have another thing coming to you. Let's just go again. Just take a look over on NBY. Hey, it has to come back up at some point, doesn't it? Nope. No, it doesn't. Nope, not at all. Hey, that's a great way to think on Apple. That's a great way to think on Microsoft. That's a great way to think on Nvidia. That, yes, these are great, credible companies. The top 500.